All right, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Deval, and thank you for joining our webinar. And I'm the product manager here at QNAP, and it is my pleasure to introduce our guests for today from ULINK Technology. Here with us are Joseph, who's ULINK's CEO, Weipeng and Main from their data science team, and they will be helping us with our webinar today. ULINK Technology has been a leading provider for mass storage test tools for HDD and SSD storage devices. The company has been providing non-proprietary third-party storage test tools to enhance the standardization and compatibility of storage devices and to speed up product time to market. In addition to their business, has long involved testing the integrity of storage devices. And today they will be talking about a product of their experience developed in partnership with us, QNAP, called DA Drive Analyzer, which predicts drive failures using artificial intelligence. So with further ado, I would like to introduce Joseph Chen, the CEO for ULINK Technology.
Hello. Good morning. Thank you, Deval, for the introduction. My name is Joseph Chen. I'm very happy to get with you and spend a few minutes to introduce our new product, DA Drive Analyzer. The DA Drive Analyzer is a breakthrough product for drive failure prediction. When I say breakthrough, it is a breakthrough for the prediction of the failure. With the experience that ULINK have in the past almost 20 years of the history, we have learned a lot of symptoms and issues on the drives, and we want to apply that to a modern technology called artificial intelligence. Most of the time in the past, people talk about prediction, and one of the most significant is weather forecast. And since 19th century, people are starting to forecast weather in looking at their patterns and determine when is a hurricane or typhoon going to arrive and what route. Today, most sophisticated weather forecast is using AI technology, and they will be able to precisely predict the route of the typhoon, hurricane, and any weather pattern. And using this artificial intelligence, we believe that we can provide and offer the advanced technology for drive failure prediction that is revolution to the traditional way of looking at drive failure and help protect the drive data and make this business smoothly run. So without much delay, with this short introduction, I would like to request our partner team to say a few words, and then Weipeng will going to introduce more details for this. Tim, please. Looks like Tim has some trouble in the audio, so maybe we can go ahead and ask Weipeng to start the introduction, please.
Thanks, Joseph. So yeah, like Joseph just mentioned, DA Drive Analyzer is an artificial intelligence-based drive failure prediction system by ULINK Technology. So I guess today I wanted to cover 5 different areas. First, I wanted to mention the problem that all storage devices will eventually face. Next, I wanted to talk about what kind of existing solutions exist to address this problem, as well as what kind of limitations they have. And next, I'll talk about Drive Analyzer and its 6 benefits. And some of these benefits will directly address the limitations of the existing solutions, but some of them will be standalone benefits. And then we'll give a little demo of how users can access Drive Analyzer. And finally, we'll save some time to answer some of the questions of our viewers. So to begin, what is the problem that all storage devices will face? Well, all storage devices will fail eventually, and some will fail faster than others. And unexpected drive failures can lead to data loss and possible business downtime. But what kind of existing solutions do we have to handle this problem? Well, the first solution is to look at SMART attributes. Specifically, you can anticipate some drive failures by looking out for SMART trips. However, the problem with that is SMART trips do not catch many drive failures. The second solution is to have data redundancy. You can make your data redundant, for example, through RAID protection. Now, data redundancy offers good protection against data loss, and we do not advocate getting rid of it. But after a drive fails, it still takes time to rebuild RAID. And this can lead to downtime for the user's business. So it's much better to know ahead of time when drive failures will occur so that you can plan for these rebuilds. And the third solution is to have scheduled drive replacement. And what this means is that you can replace your drives periodically. But even if you replace all of your drives every year, some will still fail before you get the chance to replace them. And so what we see in this chart, which is based on QNAP data, is that a little over 20% of failing drives are less than a year old. So that means even if you replace your drives every year, you will still miss these drive failures. And if you replace your drives every 2 years, you're still going to miss around 34% of drive failures. Now, let's take a step back. The current solutions are reasonable, but can we address their limitations to make users' data even safer or their business run even more smoothly? And we think that the answer is yes with Drive Analyzer. So at a high level, what does Drive Analyzer do? Well, it proactively warns users about drive failures using AI as well as threshold-based alerts. It provides convenient ways to keep track of drive health, and it provides detailed drive health indicators so that advanced users can explore the cause of drive deterioration. Now, let's talk about some of the specific benefits of Drive Analyzer. The first benefit is that it has an AI that can anticipate many drive failures before they happen, allowing users to reduce data loss. But how well does its AI anticipate drive failures? Well, before we answer this question, we need to first define drive failure. So let's define drive failure as RAID deterioration followed by drive removal by the user, following some period of observation by Drive Analyzer. And let's say that observation period is 150 days. Now, if we only consider those failing drives that have minimum health predictor values of 1,000 or greater, which we can call highly symptomatic failing drives, then our AI can catch about 95% of them. Now, remember earlier I said that SMART trips don't catch many failing drives. Well, SMART trips only catch about 16% of these highly symptomatic failing drives. And what this means is that Drive Analyzer catches 6 times as many highly symptomatic failing drives as SMART trips. But what about false alarms? Well, if we consider healthy HDDs that do not fail at the end of the 150-day observation period, and these make up most of our QNAP dataset, then Drive Analyzer's AI accidentally flags just 1.7% of these healthy drives. But wait, what if we don't want to consider just the highly symptomatic failing drives? What proportion of all failing drives does Drive Analyzer catch? If we look at this chart, what we see here is that for failing drives with minimum health predictor values, which are shown on the x-axis of 1,000 or greater, as mentioned previously, our AI can catch about 95% of them. And if we look at failing drives with minimum health predictor values of 0 or more, which is basically all the failing drives, including the ones that don't give our AI anything to predict, then our AI can still catch about 45% of them. But even if we consider all failing drives, Drive Analyzer still catches 7 to 8 times as many failing drives as SMART trips. So let's take a moment to talk about why we went with an AI-based approach, and specifically a deep learning approach. Well, a deep learning approach has the ability to model patterns in multiple drive health indicators over time resulting in a nuanced determination of drive health. On the other hand, simple threshold-based approaches like S.M.A.R.T. trips, while being more explainable, do not take this complexity of information into account. Now, the second benefit of Drive Analyzer is that it can reduce business downtime by giving users time to switch operations over to backup systems while they're rebuilding the RAID on their at-risk systems. This directly addresses the limitations of data redundancy, which, as we mentioned earlier, doesn't give you any failure buffer in and of itself. So how much failure buffer does Drive Analyzer give users? And specifically, we're talking about the time between when Drive Analyzer successfully labels a drive as at risk of failing soon, and the time that it actually fails. Well, if we look at this chart, it shows that Drive Analyzer can give more than a 5-day failure buffer, as shown on the x-axis, for 90% of failing drives that it successfully catches. And if we wanted more than a 30-day failure buffer, we can get it for about 55% of failing drives that Drive Analyzer catches. Now, the third benefit of Drive Analyzer is that it can potentially catch some drive failures that would be missed by scheduled drive replacement. Let's say that you replace your drives every 5 years. Out of the drives that would fail before those 5 years are up, Drive Analyzer can catch about 41% of them. It can also catch 26% of failures under 3 years old and 23% of failures in drives under 1 year old. So up until now, we've been talking about how Drive Analyzer addresses the limitations of existing approaches to tackling drive failures, but let's talk about some other benefits as well. So benefit number 4 is we think that Drive Analyzer is pretty affordable. Right now, it's only about $5 per drive per year, and QNAP users can get service for 1 free drive per NAS, meaning they can try it out for free. Benefit number 5 is we think that Drive Analyzer is pretty secure. Drive Analyzer sits behind Amazon AWS, and we strive to follow GDPR principles when it comes to handling personally identifiable data. And in case you're wondering, here is some of the drive health data that we do collect or are planning to collect. It includes different health logs sent by the drive and system for SATA, NVMe, and SCSI or SAS drives. And benefit number 6 is that Drive Analyzer makes it easy to monitor your drive health by doing 3 things. It automates the collection and analysis of your drive health data. It actively alerts you when there are detected problems, and it shows you all of your drive health data in a well-organized way, which hopefully we'll see in a bit. So to summarize, Drive Analyzer catches 6 times more drive failures than S.M.A.R.T. trips. Drive Analyzer gives you time to prepare for drive failures, unlike data redundancy alone. Drive Analyzer catches drive failures that scheduled drive replacement would miss. And we think it's pretty affordable, we think it's secure, and we think it can automate your drive health monitoring workflow. Now, before we move on to the demo, I'd just like to mention a few extra benefits for managed service providers and system integrators specifically. And that is, by detecting vulnerable drives, Drive Analyzer lets SIs and MSPs know when it might be time to maybe arrange a visit to their client site. And this not only allows them to proactively serve their clients, but also gives them opportunities to offer their clients additional maintenance services. For example, if an MSP or SI has 5 clients with at-risk drives, they can notify them about the drives and maybe propose an optimal time to visit these clients, while optimizing their own travel route. Meanwhile, they'll likely have time to prepare things like replacement drives, promotional materials, and any other products that they might want to show off to their clients. Now, let's do a quick demo of some of the ways that you can access Drive Analyzer's predictions and drive health information. So we'll start by keeping things simple with QNAP's NAS native application for Drive Analyzer. It uploads drive health data and gives the user a simple view of our AI's drive health predictions. Red and yellow drives have been identified as at risk of failing by our AI, while green drives are determined by the AI to be healthy. And if we were to click here, we can quickly see the location of each at-risk or healthy drive. So yeah, that's keeping the view pretty simple and focused on the AI. But what if we wanted to explore the underlying symptoms of failing drives in more detail? Well, we can in DA Portal, which we'll see here. So DA Portal is our online dashboard where a user can monitor their drives from multiple NAS systems. Like with the NAS native application, you have AI-based drive health predictions classified by color, red, yellow, and green. And here we see one drive that's at severe risk of failure. We can explore its underlying symptoms simply by navigating to the drive itself in a few clicks. And here are the recent AI predictions for this particular drive. And from here, the operating summary tab, you can see things like the amount of data read and written, temperature, IOPS, power on hours. And from here, the threshold-based alerts tab, you can see any recent threshold-based alerts, which would be indicated by orange dots, as well as the health indicators that they're based on, which include both S.M.A.R.T. attributes as well as non-S.M.A.R.T. Statistics. And if you want to see the full alert history of both AI and threshold-based alerts, you can simply go to the alerts page over here and you'll be able to see the full history. Now, we also have a feature called faulty drives, which is basically a special kind of threshold-based alert. You can think of it as a special kind of threshold-based alert that's been sent to us by QNAP. And we can also set up email notifications over here. For example, you can be notified by email whenever a drive is predicted at risk of failing by our AI for the first time, as well as any other number of emails, including weekly reports. And you can simply enter any email address where you want to receive those notifications right over here. So lastly, we have our Windows application. So, excuse me, this is running on a virtual machine, but this Windows application is called DA Desktop Suite. It allows you to receive push notifications for problems arising from multiple client accounts. All you have to do is add the client account from this icon right here, and you'll be able to see a summary of that client's drive health in a single box. We think that this would be a great solution for people who need to monitor the health of a lot of drives from a central location. And best of all, it is free to download. So yeah, that wraps up our demo, and I think now might be a good time to answer some questions that our viewers might have.
Thank you very much. All right, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the questions box, and we'll be glad to answer them for you. We have a question from John. Will this webinar be recorded and posted? Or will this webinar be recorded? Yes. This webinar will be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel. You will also receive a follow-up link with the link to play back the recording as well. So if you missed something in the webinar, you can always go back and look at the video, and we'll be able to help answer that for you. We have a few questions on our invite page regarding regarding the webinar. So the first question was, what's the best way or efficient way to distribute my storage between the RAID configuration? I would need more information. So whoever asked that question, could you provide me with more information on what exactly is being asked? Another question is, I have all my photos on QNAP systems. Do I need to back it up? And if so, how do I do it? So that's a good question. We always recommend, even though if you have a data on your QNAP systems, we always recommend to do a 3-2-1 backup strategy where you have 3 copies of your data in 2 different mediums and 1 offsite. So for your photos, even if you do have it on your QNAP systems, we do recommend creating another copy of that data into maybe a USB drive or cloud storage as well. And you can use a hybrid backup sync application to do that backup as well. There's a question for ULINK. It says, can this software be used for home users for both NAS and JBOD? So can you help answer, Weipeng, would you be able to help answer this question?
Yeah, so this software should work for home users with JBOD, yes.
And so for NAS and JBOD, it's available for NAS and JBOD as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, and for JBOD, how do you access the software?
Well, to access the software, you would need to go to QNAP software store, and you would want to download the NAS native application. So maybe I'll just go here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think you'll want to go to the App Center or software store for QNAP. You'll want to download the DA Drive Analyzer application. And once you've got that downloaded, you also want to make sure that you have licenses which can be purchased on the QNAP software store. And once you install this software, it should be able to run you through how to set up licenses, and I believe it is the option should be, oh, sorry, you can actually buy licenses. It'll give you a link to the place where you can buy a license. You can click here, and then it'll kind of run you through the buying license process, and then you click on the license seat assignment here, and it should show your hard drives as soon as it loads. Yeah, it should show you your different hard drives over here. And you can click auto assign to assign your licenses automatically, or you can assign them manually. Yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Thank you very much. Another question from John is for QNAP NAS. Is there, if a drive is identified by DA drive as or by DA as failing, can a new drive can you add a new drive temporarily to RAID 6 to do the rebuild and then remove the failing drive back to RAID 5? John, so currently you can, for QNAP systems, you can actually add that drive as a spare drive and then remove the old drive, and then the new drive will be added into the RAID, so it can rebuild, and then that will be your new drive. And with a new firmware, we also have the ability to now manually fail the drive that you want. So if a drive has been identified by DA as a failed drive or it's failing drive, you can manually fail that drive, and if you have a new spare drive, the QNAP can just use that as a new drive into your RAID. So yes, you can actually replace the drive if DA identifies the drive as a failing drive. A question from John we have is there a home version of DA? Could you elaborate that more? What features would you like to have on home version of DA? Yeah, that will be for John. While we wait, another question we have is, as a user, what should I do if I receive an AI alert versus a threshold-based alert?
Yeah, so great question. So AI-based alerts are a bit more conservative, a bit more nuanced in their failure judgment, while threshold-based alerts are a bit more liberal, meaning that they catch more failures than the AI potentially, but they also potentially come with more false alarms. So it really depends on what your risk tolerance is as a user regarding which one you want to listen to and act on. Like if your data is absolutely critical, I would back it up or have backup systems in place, even if you see a threshold-based alert. But do keep in mind that the threshold-based alerts are a bit more, they're a bit more liberal in their judgment of failure than the AI.
Okay, another question. Thank you very much. Another question is, how old of a QNAP can this run on? TS419P2, will that support this DA driver analyzer? That's a good question. Unfortunately, the TS419P2 does not support the newer firmware, so it would not be able to run the newer application because it does require a newer kernel. So unfortunately, that NAS would not be able to support the new DA driver analyzer application. Another question we have is maybe so it is a follow-up question from John is there a home version of DA? And the follow-up would be maybe a reduced set of features but better than S.M.A.R.T. at a lower cost for PCs and LTs. Well, Weipeng, could you help answer that question?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting idea. I would maybe ask Joseph to comment on this particular question, as it's a business question.
Yeah, thanks for the ask. Currently, we feel that we should provide a complete solution as we have been doing for the service that we want to provide. The idea of reduced service or reduced feature service is not in our scope, which is not going to be able to achieve our service to our customers. And we think currently the service is very reasonable, affordable, and also useful. So we think currently that was our focus. Thank you.
Yeah, but just to add on to that, but do keep in mind that we do have one drive that can receive free service per NAS. So yeah, if you want to try it out, it's pretty low cost to do so.
Yeah, thank you, Weipeng. That is very good incentive. If in case you haven't tried that, you can always use that free one first.
Thank you very much. Another question is this available for HDDs only or also for SSDs?
It's available for both HDDs and SSDs right now. And to see kind of like a list of which HDDs are supported, we do have a help desk called DA Help Center, which lists both the HDDs as well as SSDs that are currently supported by Drive Analyzer. To get to it, you can navigate to it this way. You can go to our product page, ulink-da.com, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see two links here. One with a link to supported HDDs and one with a link to supported SSD models. So Yeah, it's quite a long list, so you can check which drives you have here and see if they're supported. But we have a list for both HDDs and SSDs.
Another question is, will this be available for drives that are connected to computers like PCs or Windows computers, and like QNAP JBOT, for example? So sorry, Weipeng, can you help answer that question?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat that one more time, please?
Sure. So will this, or I think he's asking for, will the DA drive analyzer available for drives connected to computers, not a QNAP NAS, but computers like a QNAP JBOT?
Okay, so kind of like drives like PCs, for example. Do we
Yes.
support PC drives?
Mm-hmm.
That's currently being worked on at the moment, but we don't have that functionality just yet. But yeah, keep tuned. We'll work on that.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if once the DA drive analyzer is available for Windows computers, I would believe that QNAP JBOT will be supported because it's just a regular drive connected to computer. I think we are reaching towards the end of the questions, but we have two more questions. What about using S.M.A.R.T. in other ways than smart trips?
Yeah, like you can use S.M.A.R.T. for other things than just smart trips. And not just smart too. If you want to, for example, like make your own thresholds for different smart or non-smart health indicators, you can. And we provide the tool to do so. That's DA Portal, which I think, yeah, we provide it within DA Portal. And but the thing is, we do recommend that only advanced users do this. And when they're doing it, they should probably watch out for the balance between true positive and false positives, because what happens is when you up or lower a threshold on a particular health indicator to try to predict drive failure, whether it's like Smart 1, Smart 2, Smart 5, whatever it is, you can potentially up the true positive rate, but you'll also potentially get a higher false positive rate too. So if you're going to play around with that, we recommend that you're an advanced user to begin with. You kind of know what the different health indicators mean, but we do encourage exploration with DA Portal in this manner.
Thank you very much. I believe we have one last question. Is your AI better than other way of thresholding smart besides smart trips?
Maine, can you help with this question, please?
Okay, yes, and there are 2 points. First, like Weipeng said, there is always consideration of recall rate and false alarm rate. So our AI mechanism is already taking into consideration the balance between recall rate and the false alarm rate. Try to tune it in the best reasonable way. And the second one is the smart value is conventionally very limited. It is only a very small fraction of all the data a drive collected in its statistic data. So we make a breakthrough in our product. We collect all the other statistic data in the drive, and we analyze it and make use of it in our AI prediction. So it provides a much large data source for prediction.
Thank you very much. All right, we're gonna wait for a minute or more. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to put them in the questions box. All right, looks like no further questions. So thank you very much for joining our webinar, and thank you to the team at ULINK for joining this webinar and introducing DA Drive Analyzer. The app is now available on our App Center for downloads, and as mentioned before, there is a free license available for a single drive, so you guys can try it out for free and see how the app works for you guys. And if you guys have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us at ussales@qnap.com. Again, thank you very much for joining our webinar, and you guys have a great rest of the day.